Good morning, good morning. Happy New Year. Yeah. Wow. Could you check the power on that board? Yeah, no power on that. Oh, hey. We came unplugged. That has so many meanings. Is that what you're talking about today? This is an anniversary for Ward and me. We haven't played music together for 3 years, I think, was the last time. So to be in the same place at the same time, yeah, we're glad. Yeah. Well, here we are, another brand new year. We celebrated holidays and shared a little cheer. Now we wrestle resolutions come and gone. Dream about some healing or imaginary dawns. There's a sense of new hope all around. Maybe peace, maybe somewhere in some war-torn town where the birds return to the trees and smoke no longer lingers in a brand new breeze. Well, let's celebrate and renew. I'll be your loving best friend while we review, and maybe that is all we'll need to do. Let's celebrate and renew. Now maybe it's the cycle of the moon, just stirring up the tides on a stormy afternoon, where our beaches stay so strong. We can take in that view as night comes on. Then we'll walk down by the beach and renew. Maybe catch an early star or the rising moon. I think that is all we'll need to do. Walk so closely together, make one heart out of two. Let's walk by the beach and renew. Renew, it'll just be me and you. Renew, and this day will do. This moment is a present, it'll only take a few. Let's walk down by the beach and renew. Now this here is the time of our lives. Now we can thrive or simply survive. But never throw it all away. Instead, maybe hang on to each other. Oh, my friends, well, let's hang on tight and renew. We can glow from our souls in this perfect little room. I think that's all we'll need to do. walk so closely together, make one heart out of two. Let's hang on tight and renew. You can hang on to me, I'll hang on to you. Let's hang on tight and renew. Thanks so much. Thank you. Hey, Ellen, the volume on this keeps going up on the monitor, and it's like I had to turn it way away and play super light, FYI. Ellen does magic back there, and so magically I'm getting a very powerful guitar. So it looks little, but yeah. Ward introduced me to this song by David Roth. David Roth, some of you may know of David. I've never met him. I feel like I know him. But his music is so approachable, accessible, always seems like it's going the right direction for our souls. So we'll give this one a go. We got together and started practicing at 4 this morning. That's correct. No, we did not. Oh, first day of the new year. I thought I was trying to be a truth teller in life, but no. There we go. This is the year for making changes. This is the year for moving on. This is the year for overcoming. This is the year for growing strong. This is the year for a new way of thinking. This is the year for making plans. This is the year for reaching out, and this is the year for joining hands. Gone are the lonely nights of yearning. Gone are the dark and cloudy skies. All of the unsteady bridges burning. All of the doubt and all of the lies. This is the chance to recapture our power. This is the time to abandon our fear. This is the moment, our finest hour. This is the year, this is the year. This is the year that I put into action all my desires and all of my means. This is the year that I follow my passion. This is the year of my dreams. This is the year I'm letting go of trying to change the ones that I love. This is the year I turn it over. This is the year I look above. This is the year that I take my intention, turn it away from distraction and talk. This is the year I take a step, and this is the year I walk the walk. This is the year that I put into action all my desires and all of my means. This is the year that I follow my passion. This is the year of my dreams. This is the year I make it happen. This is the year I follow through. This is the year I move ahead on all of the things I want to do. This is the time to renew my commitment. This is the time to be conscious and clear. This is the moment for fully living. This is the year. This is the year. This is the year. This is the year. This is the year.
I can't even believe that you did that. How many words do you think he puts in a song? Have you listened to David's other music? I mean,
A little bit.
that's how he thinks. It's like, and you did it.
Every song's American Pie. You know, it's like, how many verses can you write? Gee, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, right.
Yay. Yay.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Yay, you. Morning, everybody. Happy New Year. May it be so. I read Louise Penny's newsletter this morning online. She's a mystery writer who some of us have adored through all 18 of her books. And she wrote, maybe what I don't want to say is have a happy New Year. Maybe I want to say is have a happier New Year. And I love the wisdom in that. Have a happier New Year. She said we can't guarantee that everything's going to go the direction that we wish it would, but what we can choose is a happier response. Maybe. We welcome you in the room. Hi, it's nice to see you home. You've been gone a long time. We missed you. I'm talking to you, honey. Yep. And Sophie's here, and we're happy for that. Behind Chris is Sandy, is it? Sandy? I'm looking at, is there a name? What's your name behind Chris?
I'm Bonnie.
Oh, you're Bonnie. That's right. We met before once, right? Oh, well, that's that's another memory, isn't it? Yeah, things we remember. Thank you for being here. What's your last name? Nice to have you with us. Thank you for coming. Anybody else I haven't seen for a while? Well, Vicky's here, but we know her. And there's that Julie. Good morning. You're Sandy. Is that right? What's your name? Yeah, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Nice to have you here. Always nice to have people coming that we haven't seen for a while, right? People who've recovered, people who've moved forward, people who've got their bodies working in the right direction this morning to get themselves here, and people who are dedicated to moving forward. It's a new year, and we're dedicated to moving forward. Thank you, Beth. I forgot to think of that. Writing hymnals. That's what those hymnals are best for. If those hymnals have been around for a while, and they have a lot of aged music in them, but what they're best for is the annual use for our burning bowl and letter writing ceremony. We welcome you who are online this morning. Those of you who can't be here in person, we welcome you and offer our deepest heart gratitude for your presence, for your willingness to sit down and tune in and turn on to Unity Skagit Valley. Every Sunday, whether we're here in the room together or wherever we find ourselves on a given day, we are connected. We say there's only one presence and one power in the universe, and that we are of that in oneness, in unity, in wholeness, and that no matter how far apart we are, and no matter what the experience of our life, we are still always connected in that energy of the one. We're connected at the heart. We're connected spiritually, but more than that, we are essential to one another. We're essential to one another. The world would not be complete were you not part of it in this moment in time. In this very moment in time, your very presence brings that sense of completion or wholeness to all of life. And we say, well, what happens if I'm not here? We say, well, you can't get out of it. You can't get out of this thing we call oneness. On all levels, in all dimensions, we are at one, now and forever. And so on this New Year's Day, we think of those who are not with us, who have moved on into their next experience of living. And I want you to know this morning we're holding Val Ruddle in our prayers, in our hearts, and in our thoughts. She made her transition, we think, on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And I have no other details to share with you except she has moved on into her next state of wholeness and the expression of that. I'm always reminded to bring forward the poem, The Traveler, when someone has passed. She has put on invisibility. Dear Lord, I cannot see, but this I know. Although the road ascends and passes from my sight, that there will be no night, that you will take her gently by the hand and lead her on along the road of life that never ends. And she will find it is not death, but dawn. I do not doubt that you are there as here, and you will hold her very, very dear. Our life did not begin with birth. It is not of the earth. And this that we call death, it is no more than the opening and closing of a door. And in your house, how many rooms must be beyond this one where we rest momently? Dear Lord, I thank you for the faith that frees, the love that knows it cannot lose its own, the love that looking through the shadows sees that you and she and I are ever one. So with her in mind, in heart, we raise her, we lift her in our minds, in our hearts, into this next experience of life. And we say to you, Val, we love you and we bless you on your way. We see that the unfolding of your being is infinite, forever expanding in and through this that we call the oneness of life. To you we say, however this transition has led you into greater heights, that we behold that on all levels and in all realms you have been received by the glorious angels who are chanting your name. And we see that in all ways you are one with the infinite light and peace of God. And so it is. When we know more, we'll share it with the congregation and let you know what is next. We never know. We never know. Valerie, share with us our daily word. It's so beautiful today. Look at you. Got it? You didn't just run up those steps, but I felt your energy race right up here. Need me? Need help?
Yeah,
Thank you. Well, thank you. I needed that.
And good morning. And healthy new year. That's what I've been wishing people, because my experience is health is part of the foundation of happiness. So healthy new year, happy new year. I'm wishing for everyone, for all beings. Yeah, yeah. Hello, everybody. Shining faces here in the church and shining faces wherever you are watching and whenever. Today's daily word is actually 2 words, fresh start. Very appropriate for this beginning, January 1. Centered in God, I create a fresh new life. I begin this year with renewed enthusiasm and a fresh perspective. I feel vibrantly alive as I realize that all the love, wisdom, energy, and strength of God are mine to express in my life right now. Grateful for the lessons of life experience, I release past disappointments with a forgiving heart. I find harmony in my relationships as I look beyond differences and focus on the divine life and love that unite all people. I go about my work seeking to serve others with a humble heart. I find ways to develop and evolve my skills and nurture my talents, allowing me to continue to grow and learn. This year, I will thrive in all areas of my life as I feel God's presence everywhere. Everywhere I go and in everything I do, God's presence is here. And the one who was seated on the throne said, "See, I am making all things new." Revelations 21:5. Healthy New Year, everyone.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. It's perfect, perfect daily word. So, how are you? Happy to be here. Ready to look with new eyes? You think new eyes? Not just different experiences, but new eyes. A new way of seeing, a new way of being present to life through the gift of insight and the ability to see through seeming circumstances into a new way of experiencing life. When we meet this that we call our burning bowl celebration, we do so in a way that invites newness by letting go of what has been in whatever way seems significant in this moment. So we're not looking for trash cans full of things we want to let go of. What's the fundamental stream that seems to be blocking the flow? What is it we want to see through into a new way of seeing, a new way of being, a new way of understanding? The other part of that is to create a letter of intention. What am I going to do about life? Not just what do I want, because what do I want is frequently not what's in the perfect flow and order of things in the way I see it. Often I don't know what I want on the level that Spirit is at work in my life. We don't, it's like, well, I don't want that. Or I want this. But Spirit is at work in our lives as that constant energetic of life itself in right and perfect unfolding. And so I think I know what I want. But then when it comes right down to it, I discover that I wanted something that I couldn't even conceive. And it's born not always in the easiest moments. It's often born out of that very thing I would say I don't want. And there in the middle of that is an arising, I call it, the very agency of arising, that yeasting of life, that under right circumstance and condition begins to bring forth what I've not seen or known about myself and about life and about my relationship with life and with others. And so that yeasting sense, that we've been in the whatever they call that, the heating unit of the stove, doing our rising, preparing, and for that to happen, it loses the form that it had and takes on new form. You mix the ingredients and something happens that you really participated in, yes, and yet something more emerges and rises and arises than we ever imagined. I see that arising out of a state the Buddhists refer to as emptiness. But it's not emptiness in the sense of the creative energy of life itself. It's emptiness from that field of constant fullness, a willingness to be in the arising of life. In a different way. We know as we step across the threshold that we're in an arising again of another dimension of our own being and another dimension of life. And in that, as spiritual journeyers, we gather the information from that, internalize it to bring spiritual awareness to it, and we let spirit then within us do this magical, mystical work. And so a ritual, it's spirit's work, and our work is to both respond and be present as presence, and at the same time to be a humble space of allowing. Spirit, I am yeasted with your presence. Bring forth the right arising in me and in my life to meet the circumstances and the great and wondrous creative process in my life and in my being. And as that's happening, we've noticed that perhaps you're not given a vote about what that looks like. There are some things we vote about, and others we really didn't vote for that, and yet here in the midst there is that which is unfailing. Today I begin anew. Today I begin anew. Let's speak the word together. Today I begin anew. Yes, I begin anew. Not I'm gonna wipe out everything that has ever been and become everything I ever thought I should be. No, I begin my entry into this process of life anew. And in that, I'm ready, or maybe I'm almost ready for a release, a really important release on some level, or a forgiveness, or a burden, or a memory, or something that I'm moving to another stage of development in my awareness. Not everything disappears. I move things really by cooperating with Spirit to a higher dimension in my mind, in my awareness, and in my sight. I see from a different place. And in that, I cooperate with the amazement of life as it's unfolding in me and in you and in us all. People get ready. People get ready. Oh yeah.
People get ready, there's a train coming. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear that diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready, there's a train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board them. There's hope for all who love the most. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who'd turn only kind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. No hiding place against the kingdom's throne. So people get ready, there's a train a-comin'. Don't need no baggage, just get on board. All you need is faith to hear that diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. No, you don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Hey. That was super duper.
Even if you're not ready, you said, right?
No matter what.
Okay. All right.
Train's still coming. Ward, I love that sound you were making. That was good. That was big. That was a great. Yeah, like church. Oh, that again. Oh, like church, huh? All right, you received an envelope, or you might have received an envelope, or we intend that you received an envelope. In your envelope, you have 3 things. Well, you have 4 things if you count the envelope. You've got a pencil, nicely sharpened pencil. You have a tiny little piece of paper, which actually, when you think about it, friends, our releasing lists are so big that frequently this should be the releasing list. But in fact, this is, and it just takes a word. You don't have to write the story, just, you already know what it is. So there's that. And then there is the large piece of paper, and there is your envelope. The thank you, Beth, is handing out things, and along the way, if you need more supplies, we can provide them when it's time, and all you have to do is raise your hand and someone will respond in one way or another. Anybody else need anything now? Catherine does. In this celebration, we consciously enter into the process. It's not just, let's do a little woo-woo magic and run out the door and go home and do whatever we always do in the way we do it. We're really in agreement with the universe for our highest good. And not just the universe, the allness and the infinite process of life. We are entering into an agreement that although we can't make these things go away, if we could, we would have, would we not? I mean, how much suffering have you carried through your life? Had you been able to snap your fingers and wish it away, it would have been gone a long time ago. Fortunately, for many of us, we've grown through the process of maturation into the release of many things that really we were ready to let go. When we came to a burning bowl or some moment in our lives, we said, I'm done with that. That is not who I am. That's not who I choose to be. That's not how I choose to live my life. And from a place of great power, we enter into it with that kind of power. And if we can't be in that state right now, what we do is come as close to it as we can. To be willing to move through the experiences that are present or past, that are ready to be let go. And sometimes, I've noticed, having done this many times, I say pretty much the same thing, and I think, but about different things. It's the same story. It just puts on different clothes and shows up over here now and over there then. And I think this is a familiar pattern for me. I seem to put things in that kind of clothing and container, and I have the power to change the story. And the story could be, I recognize this pattern in myself. And I am willing and humbly open and receptive to the release, to the full release, or if not the full release, at least enough of a release to begin to open the door to what now wants to flow and be present in my life in a new and different way. And then you recognize things. Then you say, oh, it's me doing that. Oh, look, it's me on that wheel again, thinking that thought, and then inquiring into that. Is that really true as to what I'm holding, or is that true in the state I find myself now? And I think that's a very important measurement. Is it true in the state I find myself now? I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I tune into other ministries Sunday mornings to see what ministers say, looking for inspiration and something new, and to hear wonderful people teach truth. So I was listening to Santa Barbara. They have a new minister, and I heard her say this really radical thing. If you're here and you're over 30, you can no longer blame your parents. Yeah. I went, I can't even believe you said that. Huh. Takes most people to be 60 before you no longer do that. Took you until 20 to realize that you were doing it, or 25 or 30, and now we're 60 and they're still causing us chaos of the mind. Is that possible? Or is that my mind? Can I expand the possibility for the release of those things that have identified me or my life? So let's take a minute and focus inwardly and reflect on the journey of this year, or however long. Observe yourself in the journeying process and see where you find yourself today, in this moment, in this place. And as you reflect, see the areas of growing, the places where you've grown. The things you've met. Honor yourself for this journey, this constant adventure ride called life. And as you acknowledge yourself, see what it is that has in any way inspired you to keep going, to develop and explore and find new elements and aspects of yourself. And in your spiritual journeying. In the dark times, it seems there is no God. And yet you continue to walk. And you continued to breathe. And when it was the most dark, there was something happening in you, giving birth. Something new emerging. Honor that. And there were times of laughter and joy. And there were times when the simple touch of a hand opened your heart, or a word or a thought or an idea. And along the way, there were those things that emerged with a greater clarity those things that are born of memory or wishfulness or hopelessness, whatever the case might be, there were those things. Inviting you to let go. To let go on an inner level. Frequently we say, I cannot. And even more frequently we say, I don't know how. But today we are willing to see that Spirit knows how, in the midst of us, to free and unburden us. Spirit knows the way. And I become a willing vessel to be freed. There are those things that are precious that we would not wish to let go. And those we raise to another level. In our mind and in our heart, we raise them in the light to the realization of the blessing, of the way in which this blessing lives on in us and through us each day of our life. I don't have to let go, but I can remember without being bound, without holding on, in the realization that I am living forward into a new experience of life. And then there are those obvious things that we say, no, now it's time for this. It's time for me to say, I let go. I let God. I free and release. I let go. I let God. Take a breath. Let it be so. The small piece of paper in your envelope, if you would take that out and your pencil and begin to list those things on your little piece of paper by thought, with blessing. I let go. I let God. And this is what we're releasing now. So take a few moments and just let it come through you. do it after. Anybody have a whole lot you need to write? I've got an extra page. Front and back, honey, front and back. As much as you can get on there. I forgot my clock, my up-close clock. How are you? No, more about timing. How are you doing? Are you ready? Ready to move on? Great, okay. So lay that aside for the time being. You may want to add something. So in 2018, there was a massive fire season in California, as in many other places, as there has been progressively over the last years. And there was an article that I read, and it said, wine country burn scars, wine country burn scars, explode with wildflowers. And I had witnessed this when we lived in the Santa Barbara area, because all of a sudden, one afternoon we were sitting in a restaurant on the beach in Santa Barbara, and I looked on a hillside, and there was a plume of smoke. And within a matter of an hour, it had spread so fast and so inclusively that it ended up in our neighborhood and in a variety of places. But the amazement wasn't that we came through it. The amazement was what happened afterward. And not unlike this article that was about Sonoma Valley, Sonoma County and wine country, there was a photo display published a few months later in the spring of the masses of wildflowers that covered the hillsides where the fire had been. And I love symbols and metaphors. I love things that speak to me about spiritual ideas. And some people would say, you know, the tragedy of the fire, yeah, well, of course. I don't discount that. What I point to is there's always another side of everything. There's always another side of everything. It doesn't look the way it did before, but in the experience and in our growth patterns and in the movement of life itself, there's always this and that. There's always that. So this story is vast swaths of the California wine country landscape were torched by raging wildfires in October and then soaked with rain in early spring, creating the perfect condition for a spectacular floral display. In recent weeks, flowers have bloomed in colorful profusion amid carpets of fresh green grass, bringing new life to the burn scars across Sonoma and Napa counties. It's off the charts in the burned areas. It just makes you feel joyful to see all these flowers, especially to see them rising up above the ashes. It's really a good thing for the soul, says this individual. Explosions of wildflowers. The blazes burn overgrown grasses, nutrient-hogging non-native plants, and tree branches, leaving behind ash that nourishes the soil and creates a less competitive environment for the wildflower seeds scattered in the dirt. it clears something. And something is present, not to replace it, but to bring forth that new wave of growth. These aren't the same wildflowers that bloomed last year. They say they bloomed even in places where there was no fire. I read another article about it, not about that, but about forest fires and how extreme they've been and are. But one of the things it said was something amazing happens at another level. Pine cones of a particular kind require a certain temperature that is seldom ever present except in fire season, that pops them open and the seeds scatter to replenish on a natural level the reforestation. It takes time, but not time for a sprig. It doesn't take much time for a sprig. It doesn't take much time for a flower to emerge. There's something to be known about the power of life and the process of life that's displayed in that. One year I was visiting someone who had a ministry in Texas, and they had just put down new asphalt in the parking lot. They'd just redone the parking lot. She said, "You got to see this," and took me out to the middle of the parking lot. And here was a tomato plant coming up. You know where it came from? It came from the sewer beneath the septic tank sewage hold. It came from there. Imagine the cycle that it went through to reach that moment in time when it said, "Asphalt, who cares? I'm a seed, I grow." We say, Christed seeds, Christed beings, divine beings, destined to sprout and grow in new and different ways, even the most arduous circumstances, the messes that our lives have been or potentially could be. But in that is, as this man said, this profusion across the land of this new possibility emerging. So we had a flood this week in La Conner. Some of you are aware of that. It happened that I was at the window when all of a sudden something was happening down at the corner. And I went out to the porch in my nightgown and bare feet to see. And the water was pouring over the end of Caledonia Street where there's a sidewalk and a fence there at the end of the street. The water, when I saw the water, it was pouring down the street and had reached just the house at the corner. It was just there, and it was coming so fast that by the time we got our boots on and ran out to get the cars out of the water, salt water, and move them, it was already up to the door, the bottom of the door panel. It was coming, it happened in a space of a little more than half an hour, that this roaring tide came down through our neighborhood and put I don't know, I can't give you a measurement. It just simply flowed right out of the channel and down the street, and came to basically the top of our porch, ready to burst on in. And the sheriff said, you know, it supposedly high tide is 9 o'clock. It started at 8:15. At 8:45, someone came, knocked on the door, said, I'm going to take your dog and take him to safety. And within 10 minutes after that, or 5, rescue workers and the sheriff came to get us out and evacuate us from our home to leave behind, we didn't know what. They took us, hefty men, one on each side of Kay and me. The water was by then over my knees. And took us through the water, put us in the police car, and drove us out to higher ground and a receptive neighbor. The issue wasn't that it was happening, because it was too much to take in, and it happened too quickly. You couldn't process. You just, you know, a toothbrush, some underwear, an extra change of clothes, boots, and shoes, and out the door and gone. And our house, fortunately, was safe. But the shed took a real hit. And on the bottom shelf of the shed was a black trunk about this big, some sort of press board, something that I had for as long as I can remember. I don't know, 30 years. It's moved with me from place to place. And it had all of my historical pictures. Scott's artwork, my history, his history, his baby book, all of these things. And Sky, bless her heart, went in and retrieved everything she could, and what we had were bags filled with salt water, and these photographs are all stuck together. So I spent 4 hours reliving my past when the first afternoon we were allowed back into the house. Like 4 hours, 6 hours, I don't know. And picture by picture, I peeled them apart and threw them away and looked at them and did a life review of a kind that was astonishing and emotionally just took me over the edge. It wasn't a very big box. There weren't thousands of pictures, but they were moments. Every one of them was a moment. And they ended up, for the most part, in trash bags and went to the dump on Friday morning. The issue wasn't so much that I couldn't let go. The issue was I had my identity anchored in a place that I didn't even realize. If somebody had just taken that box and walked off, I wouldn't have known what was in it. But I looked at the pictures and it triggered all that memory and all that sorrow and the process of recovery from my history and all these things. And it was like they were alive again just because they were in my mind. Do they matter? Would they matter to Scott? I don't know whether they will or won't. But what I know for myself was, oh, here's a revelation into who I was at a particular point in time. and over a period of time. And it brought up not just the emotion of that time, but the memory of what it felt like to be that person. So I'm going to ask you a question on the basis of your wildflowers, who are seeds scattered for growth in the midst of your life and your life experiences. You are the wildflowers. Your seed is scattered far and abroad and near. But I wonder how you identify yourself now, where you are in the idea of your identity now. Who are you now? I had the opportunity to really kind of rapid speed through the process, but to look at what I thought then, I could feel what I thought then, what mattered to me. And I looked at that in contrast to who am I now? And what matters, and where am I going now, given all these phases that I've lived and been, all these beings that I've been. But where are you, and where then are you going? Are we doing a slow dance into the grave at this point? Or are we exploring life in a way that is bringing us into a new way of being? And what's our intention about that? Will we prefer to be as it was then? Or will we harvest the result of all of these experiences of learning and growing to produce that realization of being in a brand new way? So the letter, I present it that way, but it doesn't mean you have to see it that way. I just present it that way because I think it's too easy to let life be what it was rather than what it's becoming. And that part of our intentionality as we write our letter is to look at who we're becoming. What is our intention for becoming? What is emerging in us about becoming? Yes, that was then. And there's been a lot of progression in water, quote unquote, over the dam and under the bridge. But really, there's a becoming happening in all of us, not just an ending and a winding down, a becoming. I am becoming. So if you would put name and address on the envelope, these will be returned to you in July. So these letters come back to you in July. You seal them, and when they're done, they go, we'll keep them and pray with them, and you're looking for something. So you've got the envelope, right? And you've got a baby envelope. It's probably special. I know, probably special. So name, address. If you don't know where you're going to be, send it somewhere where you can get it. We frequently hand them out. In July, Louise comes around with this pile of letters to give back to us so we can see where that took us and reflect on what it meant to us. And so many times I say, set your intention. So many times I've said, write your deepest desires. Today I say, no, what is your becoming? What is your intention? And what then supports that? We want to look at desires. What supports your becoming? And where does that take you? And that becomes your letter to God. These are the desires of my heart. Yes, bless you. These are the desires of my heart. Yes? And this is my intention. The third part of this service happens next week when we do the white stone ceremony. So it comes in three parts: what we burn, what we intention, and then next week the white stone. So let's write for a few minutes and see what emerges. I am controlled by others. I see that I have less and less control over everything these days. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? And then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk, and soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. Somebody in you already knows. It's what allows us to courageously say, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to move inwardly, upwardly, and arise into my true divine destiny. As we release and let go of these little sheets, I want to remind you that we do it in a way that doesn't create a lot of smoke. We use chemicals, and it's an instantaneous dissolving experience. The fire touches it, and it disappears. And the possibility is that's exactly what could happen for us. We could touch spirit and be ignited in such a way that whatever feels like block or residue or whatever disappears. What if today was the day the miracle occurred, but not a miracle, a promise fulfilled? So what I'd like for us to do, Jerry, come on up. We're going to do this row by row, but just a steady row, not a row and then stop. A steady row. We're going to do our burning. And it really is, I let go and I let God. So we are about to burn, huh?
Shall I demonstrate?
You want to demonstrate? Throw it. Did you see it? Okay. That's how it works. Jerry, would you? The bowl is decoration. It's lovely. There was a period, thank you, sir. There was a period of time when we would have tried to drop real paper in there. And then we discovered this and we liked it so much. But what I notice is when it really comes to it's time to let that go, there's some inclination in us to hold on to it, like, no, it will burn itself up. You don't have to hold it and make that happen. So there is a little letting go that happens right in the process of it. And sometimes it flies around a little bit, but it won't burn you up unless you're wearing some chemicalized, treated something that catches fire easily, and I don't see that. The other thing I want you to know about it is when you've done this, you can walk out the door and say, this is God's now. All right. So let's start with the back. Come this way, and I will stand here, and you will stand here too. We are. All right, honey, there you go. Well, it's slow, but it's going. Take care.
Let the Spirit
Don't
run
catch
my
on fire.
life.
Yeah, I didn't do hairspray this morning, I'm telling you.
Yes, I'm only here for God.
Throw it up.
No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Okay. What do you think? Sophie, did you get to do it? Do you want to just play with one? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let's do this thing. All right. Daddy, help. You by yourself? I'll stand right here, okay? Go ahead. Just do it. And throw it. Yay! It's still alive. You're right. Yeah. Well, there you go. A piece of it all. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. What happens now? I don't know. Do you? I only know we've engaged a ritual. We've called on divine assistance. We've opened our hearts to allow something to emerge that is waiting to be. We've done it in the presence of one another, and we've really seriously said, this matters to me. And I matter to me enough to set myself free and release those things I no longer need, and to say, I have an intention to be the me I really am in a new and different way, with all the support the universe has to offer. Poinsettias for you to take with you this morning. Anyone who would like to take one from our Christmas services and blessings, please do. Next week, our White Stone ceremony, same time, same place, same bat people. Here we are. We're miracle workers and transformers. That's what I know about you. You are miracle workers and transformers. Catherine, you have a quick announcement?
So just a quick update with the Christmas family. The board set an intention. The board set an intention for an amount, and we as a team didn't know what was collected. And we spent within $8 of what was collected. And the church got to keep $8 extra for something else, which is pretty amazing. So you
great.
are such creators. It was just wonderful. So I've been in touch with the church family. She contacted me by text, and it was cute because she said, let me find it now. I had it, doggone phone. Here we go.
Story of our lives. How to use our iPhones.
So she says, thank you so much. Sorry, I forgot to push send. We've all done that, haven't we? But what she says is, thank you again, and my kids and I had an amazing Christmas.
Oh,
and I
lovely.
said I would share that with the congregation.
Thank you.
So thank all of you.
Thank you. All right, my friends, we are way past time, but these special services take a little longer, a little more to cover, a little more to deepen into. I bless you in this new year, you and yours and all the others. I bless our four-leggeds, I bless our flying, I bless our swimming, I bless all the aspects of life. I call upon all the powers that be in the universe, all the forces for good, all the forces for light, to be with you as your constant felt companion in all the days to come. May we know that together in spirit, we are always one, no matter how far apart we might be, and no matter what our present experience. You have a family here. You have a spiritual family. For those of you online, we may not get to see you in person or infrequently in person, but we are family for you, spiritual family. And we hold you always and forever in the light, in the love, and in the peace of God. May we all rejoice in, we are here, I am here, and all is well. We are here, you are here. I own it for yourself. I am here, and all is well. Let us journey together in peace. And let's close our service by singing Amazing Grace. Oh, the offering? Oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. Betsy's billfold came out. Thank you so much. So as we sing Amazing Grace, we're closing the service and we're receiving your love offering. May you be blessed. And thank you for your generosity always. All right, let's do this. Happy New Year.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear relieved. How precious, dear, that grace appeared the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, cords and snares, I have already come. There's grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been here 10,000 years, thy shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul